It's a bull market, baby, and we got all-time highs locally, rand strength. It's also Friday, and this is the week that was. I'm your host, Simon Brown. I'm joined by Vestact's Khumalo and Chantal Marx from FNB Wealth and Investments. We have 100 days of GNU, and so far, so good. We'll get to China in a bit. Chantal, loving the market.
Absolutely. I think SA Inc. has been rearing to go probably for the last 4 or 5 years.
Easy.
This market has been undervalued, underappreciated. We have some excellent companies with really good management teams, strong cash flows, strong balance sheets, and then those valuations were just terrible. So I think that investors were looking for something to hold on to, for some hope. And now they're properly getting in there. And we know that it's mostly locals driving the rally right now. And that's really, really encouraging because we still have the foreigners that need to come in. And I think that it could perhaps potentially give us another leg up.
We are simple people, right? Give us a functioning government and electricity and boom. And I mean,
things start to happen, right?
Make no mistake, S&P's also at highs, Nasdaq's almost at highs, that silly Dow Jones is at highs. I mean, it's just like stuff's going up and we're all richer.
You remember we were talking about, our crank, just cranking the gears and getting the wheels to start turning. Well, the wheels are turning faster and faster. So that analogy is working well so far.
And Chantal, I want to come back to what you said quickly. So the foreigners haven't arrived. When they arrive with their dollars and euros,
they'll find us in motion, man.
Yeah. But we've also, I mean, these companies have been doing okay for 5 years. I would have said 10 years under very trying conditions. I mean, they're going to start making proper money in a working economy. So we're going to get not only evaluations increasing, but then profits increase, which can suddenly, I mean, this is maybe, I mean, I'm scared to say it, early days.
Yes, absolutely, because as you say, you've got earnings then supporting the valuation. You've got the valuation uplift from locals entering the market and bringing those valuations closer to, let's say, 20-year through the cycle valuations. And then you have foreigners coming in who don't care about buying something at a 25 times PE.
I know.
So I think that it's a virtuous cycle, right? And then because you have these really solid valuations, the wealth effect starts playing a role in South Africa as well. Confidence picks up not only for businesses but for consumers as well. Mix that in with the tailwind of lower inflation, higher interest rates. A lot can happen, particularly if we get some of these structural reforms that we've started seeing come through really start ramping up and pushing up our potential growth number in South Africa.
And I like your point. 25 PE to a foreign, I mean, they buy Costco on 45. They're like, this is absolutely nothing. Quick, Rand, what's your downside target? Where's Rand going? How good are we? 1680, 1250?
I'm long the dollar, so I'm the worst person to talk about it.
I got a friend who earns dollars. Okay, where's your Rand target?
So I have seen some bull estimates of about 15, which would be...
that would hurt me here.
Yeah, won't hurt me, long SA Inc.
Yeah, long SA
So that 15 target assumes a 2% GDP growth, real GDP growth number. But I think that once the Rand starts pushing in either direction, it goes and goes and goes. So maybe 15 is fair value if growth is 2%. But if growth is 2%, the Rand will undershoot that 15 level as well.
And I got an argument that says we could do 3% growth next year. So, hey, 15, absolutely. Also making news this week. A shooting at a Harris election office. We've said it before, America, gun problem. China goes big on stimulus, very big. Meta goes big on AR, while the press hobnobs around New York and meets with Elon Musk. Schwani is a mess as the mayor is out, while the New York mayor just got indicted. Steinhoff insider trader gets convicted almost 7 years later. OpenAI wants to become for-profit. Men in South Africa cannot take their wives' surname when getting married. Really? We couldn't already? The OECD raises global GDP forecasts for 2024, while teenagers took a train for a joyride. Old Mutual goes ahead with launching their bank. We need another one. But first, let's start with that China story. As they wowed world markets on Tuesday, we were closed for Heritage Day, perhaps their biggest ever stimulus package, and we've been heading higher ever since. China's like the cream on the cake. I mean, don't get us wrong, we love it. And I mean, look at Richmond, look at Naspers and Process. This is a big story out of China in terms of the size of it.
Yeah, I think that the question now is this an adrenaline shot? So we're going to see the market rally quite quickly. We might see a one-off pick up in growth maybe for a quarter or 2 quarters? Or is this enough to actually change the trajectory of the Chinese economy? Because the concern right now is that we're in a deflationary spiral and it's the next Japan. And that would be disastrous for global economic growth. And I think for South Africa in particular, it would be really bad because we need that continuous growth in demand for our commodities in order for our country to hit that 2-3% growth target.
You mentioned commodities. I mean, they got excited. Truthfully, the commodity story would be a little bit slower. I get why JD.com and Tencent were all getting excited, Richemont, because buying luxury watches. That commodity story could kick in later. And talking, if commodities start going to the moon, 15 is but a train stop on the journey for the rand stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that some of the areas that particularly excite me is what could possibly happen for the platinum counters, because, I mean, they have been absolute dogs. And once you start seeing commodity prices pick up, a rising boat lifts all ships, even though there's still question marks around the industrial use case for platinum longer term. I can see the platinum price lifting up and those platinum miners perhaps coming back finally.
You love tech, China tech? I mean,
No, well, we're all long China tech through NASPA's process, right? But I think to come back to the story, initially, I mean, this is probably the 4th or the 5th time the Chinese, well, the Politburo or PEN, whatever you want to call him, is coming with a stimulus package. So the big difference right now is that it's not, you know, small, you know, because previously it's been very small and not direct. So now this is a real stimulus package that's actually making an impact, and the market is rewarding them for that. Yeah. So this is what the market wanted. If you want to stimulate the economy, do it seriously and put some serious numbers down. Yeah, you guys talk about inflationary or deflationary, you know, second order stuff that will happen in the economy. I don't know. All I'm seeing is that, like you're saying, up in Europe, I think this summer was the worst in terms of luxury sales coming out of tourists outside of China, and in Paris in particular. Actually, they got hurt because they also hosted the Olympics. No one wants to go to an Olympic, you know, town or city during summer because it's just too busy. But the people that were there for Olympics were not there to spend. So it was very bad for these companies, which in the last 2 decades, this was the 6th worst summer ever. So that should let you know what's happening there. So hence why we're seeing the big reversal that we're seeing currently, as you know, China is, you know, risk on. I mean, it makes sense if a quarter of your customers come from China and all of a sudden Chinese feel richer, like you were saying, the wealth effect. So that's going to benefit all of those businesses. I mean, you know, I'm long LVMH, Hermes, and some of these luxury stocks like Richemont, they're all seeing...
Richemont, because Ms. Marx always says when it sells, but in fact, every time Richemont sells off, you don't know it, but you hold my hand to say, Simon, don't do anything stupid. Talking about bailouts, fun fact, the first bailout in 2008 from Paulson was 786 million. It's so sweet and small and insignificant these days. Tourism, Bright mentioned it, big business, and our leisure stocks have been having a good run. Well, some of them. Here's CEO of the Tourism Business Council, SA, on new frontiers for tourism growth.
There's more work that needs to be done, and what we try to do every year is to say that, you know, here is the feedback from what we discussed in the previous years. This is what we said we're going to do. This is what we have done. This is what we have not completed yet, but this is where we are, so that everybody knows where we're headed to. Because talking and talking, you know, it can be inspirational, but if it doesn't have results in it, it doesn't move the needle.
Tourism, I mean...
South Africa is sleeping on tourism. Look at tourism-only countries. Look at the West Indies, you know, all of those islands there. Look at the Caribbean. Look at those 6 islands there.
Spain.
Look at Portugal. Look at Spain. Look at Thailand, Malaysia. I mean, come on, guys. Look at what does Hong Kong do?
Mauritius. I mean,
what does
Mauritius
Singapore do?
Lovely, but it's just
We need to learn from these. Just copy-paste policy and let it happen. Don't make it difficult for people to come to our country, work on crime, and we are really, really, really close, you know, to the finish line in terms of making people feel safe to come to South Africa and want to come to South Africa. Funny enough, coming to South Africa is one of the cheapest holidays. It's equivalent to going to, you know, the Southeast Asian holiday destinations. And I would argue that we have more to offer than those countries.
More to offer, better
It's just
value,
that
better
politics has us by the throat here, and nothing can happen in South Africa. We're really sleeping on that. And that's a big potential growth sector for whoever comes into government if they're serious about making this a better country, make it open to people from outside to come visit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I look at when I'm thinking about exploring the rest of the world is, can I go there without a visa?
Yes.
Or can I go there with just a quick visa registration just before I go, like that online, like you do with India and you do with the UAE. That's a quick win for us, because honestly, there's no better place on earth. Because actually, before I go overseas, I think about what I want to do next year.
Make it easy to travel with your kids. Don't let them bring unabridged certificates. Just a copy of their birth certificates is good enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we've got it all. From Kruger to the mountain on the other side, we have everything. Not sure Tshwane is much of a tourist hotspot, however, but it sure has been hot in the mayor chambers. Yesterday, we finally got the promised vote of no confidence. Celia's Brink has to hand back the chains and fancy first car, all thanks to Action SA and the Hairman. This is just...
Action SA is a snake. I thought they were pro whatever is not ANC. Clearly not.
I don't know what they think anymore.
Yeah, I think that their constituency will be really disappointed with this.
Yep.
Everyone I know who voted for them is
it's like, now
furious.
what? Yeah, now like, what the hell, bro?
We had the conversation a week or so ago between friends as well, and there were a few of them who were like, well, I'm putting it out there, I voted Action SA in the municipal elections and it is never happening again. There's just no trust there.
It does make 2026 municipal elections quite fun, because I think the ANC beat the DA by like 2% in Tshwane. As you say, Action SA has just shot themselves in the foot. It's going to be wild in 26.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting, and I think people have a lot to think about, because I think a lot of people voted Action SA who won't necessarily feel comfortable voting for the DA, and now they have to rethink, well, what is my option?
Well, just vote for the incumbent, man. This just makes absolutely no sense. You can't vote for these smaller parties. You give them the power, they squander it. I mean, let's not forget that Tshwane is here where we are today because of the ANC, which ran that municipality to the ground. And they're going to be coming back, trying to work with Action SA to build it back up. Do you believe that's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't believe much about politicians.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. After the break, Sense feed seems to have been broken this week. I had to keep on resetting it because nothing was coming through. And joyrides on trains.